Anyway, let's get started. I really appreciate you guys being here today. We're going to talk about change, and as we get on this, listen, we've all had I'm going to say a pretty rough, 4 years now. Ever since COVID hit the scene in 2020, we've all just had to deal with so much negative change. I mean, we were able to get through it with PPP loans and ERTC credits and things of that nature, but it was still tough. And I think a lot of us are feeling it, with inflation now. A lot of businesses have, succeeded throughout this, and a lot of them have failed. A lot of them are struggling. I can feel it. We know it. It's affected the labor market greatly. So I think this is what I'm basing this webinar on, just from my 30 years in HR now, is that I kind of feel like there's going to be positive change. I think the country is ready for it. And I don't care what side of the aisle you're on, politically speaking, because this is not a political statement. It's just the American people, the American business, the billionaires in the world. They're all just ready to get back on track with a good growing economy, with the freedom to do the things that we need to do to grow our businesses. So I'm just excited about that. And this is what I think is the change, which is positive. It's going to bring about new challenges, right? And that's what we're going to talk about today. How do we prepare for that? How do we gear up for what will be hopefully change? And listen, it's perpetual. I think the positivity of our economy is it's perpetual. It's if we start doing better and investing, and consumers invest, and they go to restaurants, and they go back to retail, and we shop and live and spend money, that's just gonna further the economic boom, which I hope does happen. So let's get started, and we'll talk about how do we kind of prepare for that. Okay, so today we're going to talk about the agenda. It's going to be that anticipation, and I already spoke about that. Excuse me. The anticipation that, hey, let's do this, let's get going. We expect it. We're talking a little bit about technology, and I know we've been pressing technology as far as HR goes. We're going to talk a little bit about that. We're going to talk about compliance, lightly speaking, because we do have a webinar in our January and February webinars where will be more on compliance. Talk about culture. That's a big buzzword these days. Talent. How do we find the people that we need to succeed? Planning, like, let's plan ahead. How do we really set our companies up for success? And this is all from an HR perspective, because that's my wheelhouse. And then retention. How do we retain the employees that we've got? How do we make sure that we have a good, strong team, a core team, and we keep those people? We're going to talk about wellness, right? New growth, more work, more production, more hours may require some thought about wellness on your employee staff. It's going to create stress. And how to be a better boss. I think I've learned over the years, and I'm thankful to have some really, really good people around me that feel strong enough to talk to me sometimes when I'm not a good boss. And I think or if you're an owner or a manager, that you need to be open to criticism. So we're going to talk about a little bit about how to be a better boss, and then we'll conclude and we'll move on. So again, thank you for being here. Appreciate it. And we'll jump right in. So again, anticipation of a better economy. I think there's going to be a boom. I think there's optimism from every sector right now that there's going to be something, and it may not affect everybody. I mean, Amazon has changed our life forever. I think there's no doubt about that. Retail may never come back to what it was. Eating out, restaurants, I think great opportunity there. I think as people want to go out more, they've kind of been pent up demand for that. So I'm hoping that restaurants really improve, and definitely change is coming. I don't care whether it's good or bad. I don't know, but this new administration is talking about deregulation and more opportunity for growing your business, without government breathing down your back. Maybe lower interest rates are going to help a lot. So I just think all around that's positive. And it's uncertain. We don't know. There could be other forces that try to stop, the progress. There's a lot of political considerations with that. I'm not going to get into that, but either way, you need to plan and be ready for whatever is going to come our way, right? Um, Tight labor market. So, we have a staffing company. It's here, as most of you know here, and the staffing company, we're generally 80 to 100 people. Right now, it's down quite a bit, just because some companies are kind of slowing up for the end of the year, which is typical. But before COVID, we had a really, really tight labor market. We were struggling to find people. The economy was booming. After the same administration that's there now, the economy was booming before COVID. However you look at it, and we couldn't find people. And then COVID hit, and especially here in California, with the very generous unemployment benefits, a lot of people stayed home, and just the fear of being sick and all that good stuff. So, there was a very tight labor market. It was real tough to find people that really wanted to work. And now, as the economy is kind of increasing, and it's still a very tight labor market. And can you imagine if we go into a booming economy? What's going to happen to that labor market? Are you going to be able to find the people that you need to grow your business? That's going to be a really, really big question, and we're going to talk a little bit about that, how to strategize against that. So one of the first things we'll talk about, since we do provide HR technology, this is a little bit about our company itself and what we provide. But you got to leverage HR technology, eliminate manual stuff. If you are still filling out papers, having employees come in and fill out long applications and fill out 10, 15, 20 pieces of paper, that to hire them and bring them into your company, you got to streamline that. And whether it's timekeeping or tracking PTO, a time off accruals. If you're doing any of that manually, we got to get out of the 90s and we got to get into the 2000s. The more you eliminate manual tasks, the more productive your employees are going to be. I've been around for a long time. It's a little bit old, but my days go back before fax machines, and they said, oh, this is the future. There's going to be fax machines, and we got email, and then computers come in, and we always thought, oh, life is just going to get easier. Well, it doesn't. What happens is that we end up filling all that space with more productive activity, and that's actually a good thing. So that works the same way with your employees, whether it's your HR people, your administrative people, or your line people, whatever. The less that they have to do, that you could take off their plate with technology, the more they're going to have to do the things that really, really affect your business and grow your bottom line. Accessible technology, man, it's easy. Hiring is very, very easy through technology. You can go out to multiple job boards. You can onboard your employees without paper, which provides a very consistent process that you don't miss any compliance issues when they go through the training, go through the onboarding process. You can insert training in there for harassment prevention and all the things that you need to make sure that your staff that your staff are being hired correctly and all the compliance pieces are in place. Timekeeping, obviously, HR compliance, having them sign policies and changes in the company electronically, tracking that in their employee profile. Very, very easy. It's very accessible. It's very affordable. It just does take a little bit of effort initially to learn. Just like any software program that we take on, it's always going to take a little bit of effort. And I think a lot of folks, look at, and including me, will look at technology and these, big, huge, crazy software programs and apps that we have, and we run, right? We don't want to do it, but there's a real benefit on the other side of getting through that initial challenge. So I encourage you to look at the processes in your business that are related to HR, because again, that's our wheelhouse. And what can we automate? Again, it's accessible. I'm not asking anybody to go out there and buy $1 million program to do this. Very, very affordable and accessible. Improve your efficiency. Automation standardizes practices. Again, make sure your compliance with labor laws is consistent. And you don't have to think, oh gosh, did I get that form? Did they sign this? You'll know right away because it's in your dashboard and you can see everything that's going on. And again, it's scalable. So once you put these things in place, if you do grow, maybe you're in a business that's going to just take off with a growing economy. You don't want to get way down the line and then there's, oh my gosh, we now we need to incorporate this technology. Well, by then you're already busy growing your business. So put it in place now, and that way you can scale without that strain of trying to do it while you're growing. And there's a big one. This is, get HR compliant. And I'm gonna, I push this all the time, making sure that all your ducks are in a row, basically, with HR compliance. There's at least 90 laws that we have to comply with as business owners and employers. And it's, you probably aren't going to comply with all of them. I've never seen anybody that actually does. Even with full HR, it's very difficult. And even if you do, you still got, sharky lawyers that want to come take your money. So there's a lot of laws. There's going to be new laws this year. There's laws that changed last year that a lot of businesses have not really gotten up to compliance with. One of them being the workplace violence prevention law that came out. There's a lot of leave changes this year. We did do an HR update a few months ago. If you guys need any help on that, please reach out and we'll talk about it. But we will be going in January. We're going to be talking about PAGA reform. I'll talk about that at the end of this. And in February, we're going to go through wage and hour compliance, very in depth. We've never really done an in-depth webinar on that. So stay tuned for those. Your liability is huge as an employer. You've got to know the laws, especially the big ones. The ones that are, as I've talked before, that are the window to your business for a lawyer who wants to get at you, or an employee who's unfriendly. It's wage and hour. It's timekeeping. It's clocking in for meal breaks or clocking out for meal breaks and clocking back in on time, and your final paychecks, all that basic stuff. It's not that difficult, but that's where they get you. And the liability is huge because once they open that door, now they can go pick apart every little technical thing that you've got wrong in your company. And I know there's some folks on the webinar today that have dealt with big lawsuits. Our staffing company, we've dealt with them, and it's no fun. And you got to do what you can to make sure you protect your liability. And there's also something that we've got now in our staffing company is EPLI, or Employment Practices Liability Insurance. It is very inexpensive. We will send some information about this in January too, because I really want folks to look into this. Even though I used to believe that, well, you really don't need that if you're doing everything proactive, and we never had it for years. And now I'm not under that belief anymore. You can do everything proactively you can possibly do to comply. Somebody is still going to find some technical glitch in your system that they can sue you on, and just like the old ADA laws. So employer liability protection is a really good thing. And again, we'll talk about it more. PAGA reform, this new PAGA reform that came out, again, we're going to go into detail. But PAGA was a horrible law, and it really, really went after a lot of small businesses. It's allowing attorneys to work on behalf of the state, to come in and investigate your business and look at every little nook and cranny, where the state wouldn't necessarily do that. The state would generally have to wait till you went to a labor board claim, and the state wouldn't really dig into your business. They would be looking more at that one employee. And unless they went and filed a class action lawsuit or something of that nature, it didn't affect it. But now PAGA basically gave attorneys a free reign to roughshod over your business and pull everybody into a claim, all your employees, whether or not there was evidence or not. They just got the opportunity to discover what was going on in your business. So they got some money, the state got money, and everybody was happy. So that has been reformed. It's a little better, but you have to take very specific action. Oops, did I just go dark on I may have just went dark. Hang on, guys. I have a little technical difficulty here. I'm going to try to get it back up. What happened? Screen sharing has stopped because, okay. Let's do that again. Hang on, guys. I think I know what happened. Just give me a moment to fix it. Sometimes my screens will just sort of lock up. Okay, there's my screen. Let's share that. Okay, is that it? No, that's not it. Pardon me, guys. I want to screw through. There it is. Okay, we're back. I'm sorry about that. All my screens went black, as that happens once in a while. Technology, right here. I'm trying to tell you guys about technology, and it's failing me. So is everybody back? If anybody wants to give me a little yes or in the chat, you've got the screen. Get HR compliant. Is everything cool? And you can hear me, of course. Hopefully somebody's on that will say something. Anyway, so yeah, so proactive compliance. I really believe you've got to be. Oh, someone put it in Q&A. Yep, great. Thank you, Wendy. Sorry to reveal your name. Nobody knows who that is. So proactive compliance, eliminating errors and aligning with current laws can prevent. That's kind of a summary to all this. If you are proactive and you really, really do your best to do everything right, you can really, really limit the impact of PAGA. If you don't, then you're sort of on the other side of that, the dark side, and you can end up really getting hurt. So definitely, really, really, really be proactive with, excuse me, with your compliance. And that's what we're here for. If you ever have any questions, ever have any problems, we're here to really, we can do a kind of a review of your business and find out any areas that might be not working right. Okay. All right. So that's how, again, we'll talk more about it in January and February, but let's move on from that. So this is kind of a buzzword, and everybody hears, oh, culture and engagement. What does that mean? That it's one thing to talk about it and hope that you have some sort of a culture in your business, but it's another thing to really put practical things in place. So I mean, basically technology can streamline your HR. You can put everything that you can in place, but people, that's the core of your business. That's what HR is: human resources. It's not technology. It's not anything else. It's about the human, right? It's about us. And I think it's important to understand that your business doesn't work without people, right? You wouldn't be here. So a strong company culture is a key to employee satisfaction and retention. Our company here is pretty strong retention. We have very low turnover. Everybody here has been here for, I don't know, 6 or 7 years, except a fairly new hire. We've had one or two people that kind of popped in over the years that didn't hang out, but generally, so we practice what we preach here. We really try to do this, but you're having a culture. If you don't know what it is, you got to figure it out, and you might have to go to your employees and find out. Ask them, what is our culture? If they can't explain it to you, then you probably have some work to do. Again, if it's not clear, just reflect on it intentionally. Like, gosh, what are we all about? The world has changed, and I think we talk a little bit more about this later. But the world has changed. It's not, COVID changed everything. People are expecting to work from home once in a while. They got used to maybe not working as hard. There wasn't as much work. Whatever it was, everything changed. So, and we've got new generations coming up, right? I'm not even sure where we're at now with Generation Z and X and whatever, but they're all different. They're all being raised differently. They're being, it's they just don't have the same work ethic in them. So we have to adapt to that. How do we adapt to them? We can't just be the same company that we might have been 10 years ago or 20 years ago or even 5 years ago. We've got to be different, right? So you've got to reflect on who you are, what kind of people you really want to hire. Do you want people with good ethic? Do you want people that care about their jobs? You want people that are productive and want to be there? Or do you just want people to kind of get your work done for you? So you got to really think about that and then begin to take action. And some of the big things I think are really, really big are flexibility, right? People have lives. We don't work. Let me see. I'm going to make sure I get this right. We don't live to work. We work to live, right? So we don't want our job to encroach into our life, 12 hours a day. We're already given, as an employee, we're given 8 hours a day. We're seeing our families for 3 or 4 hours a day, maybe if we're lucky. And then we're going to bed, and then we got to start over and do it again. And we get a little weekend, which goes by about as fast as, a fly buzzes by us. So we've really got to have that flexibility so people can still get their lives, live their lives. And recognition programs are huge, recognizing what your company has done, what your employees have done, how much they've helped you. When something good happens, talking about it. When something bad happens, being open about it, but recognizing what's going on with your employees and how they're impacting your business, your customers, your profit. I think they really want to hear about it. They really want to know. They want transparent communication, right? What's going on? The business is not doing well. Talk about it, right? If the business is doing well, tell them why. Tell them what it's going to take to do better. And if it's not doing well, tell them what it's going to take to do better, right? So we want to really, really be open with our employees and make sure they know what's going on. And just involve your whole team. They are vital to your success. We had a little Christmas lunch yesterday, and I told everybody how amazing they are. We're seeing a lot of companies right now as we get to the end of the year, so when we start adding in a lot of new businesses that are starting up payroll, and we're seeing a lot of folks, and you know they're just not getting the service from these other payroll companies, big national guys, right? There's no culture in those places. It's just kind of a churn and burn mentality. And I told my staff, I said, you guys are the best. And I hope you guys believe that are on this, that use our services. They are the best. They're just wonderful. They care about what they're doing. They really, really do their best. They want to be here. We're like I hate to say like a family, but we're almost like a little family here. So if you want that in your business, then you've got to really push to make that happen in your business. And it does take some effort. So another thing that you can do too, again, I'm going on the basis of it's going to be a great year because I want it to be a good year. You guys want it to be a good year, right? So if we think that we can make that happen, all of us can make that happen. So when we do, again, will we be short on talent? Will we not be able to find the right employees? So the talent that we do have, we want to maximize them, right? It may require this growth. We may need to expand our workforce somewhat, right? We can probably do that. There's enough people out there that we can, but what if things really get tight, right? So we've got to maximize what we have, the people that we have, right? We can do that through training, development, try to enhance skills, efficiency. You got to figure out where are you weak in skills and efficiency. Is it technology? Is it customer service training? Is it whatever? Maybe it's AI. Using AI is huge in our business. I save so much time rewriting things, and I also probably sound better with my emails when I use AI. It does help. If your employees if you're not embracing it as a business, maybe it's time to do that. And then you can't just throw everybody into AI, into a new technology. You may have to do some training and upgrade their skills with that too. So that's something to really think about. And evaluate, improve current processes. Maybe your business is still kind of doing things the old way, right? We're just doing it because we always did it this way. And you got to open your mind up and allow your employees to tell you, how can we improve a process? They know the best, right? They're the ones that struggle with it every single day, whatever you do, whether it's a restaurant and it's food or you're a real estate company, or whatever you're doing, your processes have probably been around for a while. So look into ways that you can do that to boost productivity and make people feel better about their jobs, right? When they're able to give you input, and I take input from my employees all the time, and they're honest about it. They know they can tell me, Mike, you really suck at this or that, or this process is really bad. We need to improve it. And I want them to help me make those decisions and help decide how to do that. So get the most you can from your employees. And then investing more in your employees, delivers better results than hiring a new staff, right? Hiring new staff, I mean, what's the ramp up period for most companies? Anywhere from 3 to 6 months before your employee is doing, is up to 100% speed. So if I can take somebody that I know is a great employee that's been with me for years and is reliable and trustworthy, and they love the business and that we're in, what we're doing, if I can make them 5% better, and I've got 10 employees, I just hired a half a new person without having to spend any money. So it really, really does help you when you can get the most out of your staff, and not with a whip, not by forcing them to work more hours or anything like that. I'm talking about just give them the ability to do more with what they have, give them the resources they need. Maybe it's faster computers, maybe it's training, maybe it's just letting them have the input in those processes that we just talked about. But that will pay off better than hiring new staff. And again, this is how you deal with the tight labor market. Again, I'm assuming that we're going to be facing that next year. And then we're talking about employees. So, employee retention is all part of that, right? So it's a booming economy. It's going to mean that there's other companies out there that want good employees, right? We're all going to be in the same boat. So these larger companies that can pay more They have better benefits. They can promise longevity. They're not going to go out of business. They're not going to have the ups and downs that a small business might have. They're going to be gunning for your employees. If your employees are good, I guarantee there's going to be headhunters. There's going to be, ads on Indeed that pop up on, on Instagram or whatever. They're going to, they're going to be coming after employees. So you want to make sure that you have something in place to keep that core staff that you've got. And again, a wish and a hope is not a plan, right? Like I hope everybody's happy here, and I hope they stick around through this economic boom. Not always going to happen that way. You got to put a plan together, right? So we can compete with the big businesses. We know we can, by having good loyalty within our employees and having a good workplace environment, a good culture. We can beat anybody, and that's what I believe, right? We are a small business servicing company. We are a small business. We service small businesses. That's our world, right? So I know that we are the engine that drives our economy, and and I know we can do it, but it takes some effort, right? It's not going to be as easy as it used to be. And be transparent. Company goals, when you hit them, make sure employees know how they've contributed to it. Make sure that they understand, like, we're trying to get to this point. This is what's going to happen when we get to this point. You guys are a part of it, and this is how you're a part of it. That's, again, it's common sense, but it's, I think employees want to know that they're part of the success of the company. Obviously competitive pay, strong benefits, clear advancement, but pay isn't everything, right? Advancement is big. Do your employees understand how to get to the next level? Do you have a structure in your business of, here's a administrator level 1, level 2, level 3, this is what it takes to be 2 and 3. So when your employees come to you and say, gosh, I'd really like a raise, I want some more money, or I want this advancement, I want to go to the next level. Well, if you've got it structured in advance, then you can show them, and then you can show them ahead of time. Hey, I'd like to see you get to this next level. This is what it's going to take. If you can just do these 2 things, take this training course, if you can, spend another 6 months or achieve this goal, then you can get there. So employees want to know that. They don't want to sit stagnant in the same position for 4, 5, 10 years. That may have been the way it used to be, right? Maybe in my father's age, but it isn't. We are in the 2000s now, so we've got to provide employees with something. And most your best employees, they're going to want more. They're going to want to do more. They're wanting to be more. They want opportunities to make better money. And when your company succeeds and they have that opportunity to grow with it, that's how they get happy. And I've seen that in my own company, how everybody, they want more. And it's not just about more money. It's just they want to feel good about themselves, that they're doing a good job. Everybody wants that. Okay. So I know I get a little passionate about this stuff because I see it every day. I see the negative sides of businesses that don't do these things. And so that's where, when you understand where I'm coming from, I've been doing this for a long time, and I've seen hundreds and hundreds of businesses succeed and fail. And I see what works and what doesn't work. And I've also seen a lot of employees within these companies. And I'll tell you what, everybody wants more, right? They want to do more. And you've got to give them that opportunity and tell them how to get there. Okay. And again, focus on retaining top talent by keeping them engaged and committed. Are you communicating? Are you talking? Are you having staff meetings? Are you having one-on-one meetings with some of your employees? You want to make sure that you know what's going on with their life, what they want, what they love, what they dream, what they hate, and what's going on with their families, what's going on in their personal lives, without getting, into privacy issues. But you do want to try to help them to achieve what they want to achieve. And I think it's really, really important to understand that. Again, these are not just workers, right? This is your team. And I think keeping them engaged in the business is going to require more than just, hey, you get a paycheck every 2 weeks, you should just do the job. That's a really, really bad attitude. And I know nobody on this webinar has that, but make sure that you're moving away from that as much as possible. Okay, so just workforce planning. It's planning ahead. Where are we going? What's going to happen next year? And this is part of it. You guys being here today is wonderful. I'm very thankful that you're here, and there's as many people that want to listen to me. It's kind of cool, but I think it's important to be planning ahead, right? So developing a hiring plan. How are you going to hire? Are you just gonna, if you've been putting ads in Indeed, forever, and you get 1,000 resumes or 100 resumes and you plow through them, how's that working for you, right? Check your turnover. If your turnover is more than 25% a year, then your hiring maybe needs some work. Okay. And it might be finding the right people. It might be making sure again that all those advancement opportunities are in place. So when you hire somebody, you're hiring somebody that's already thinking ahead of where they want to go. And that's the kind of person you want, right? We're not just going to take bodies off the street. We've got to take people that really know what they're doing. And how do we put something in place that communicates that says to that potential employee, we're a good employer, and this is why we're a good employer. This is why you need to be here, right? You've got to sell your business and your strategy of how that employee is going to succeed. You've got to sell that to employees now. It isn't well, you should be thankful you work for me. That just doesn't cut it anymore. And I do see that attitude sometimes, and it affects me. It bothers me. So again, you got to avoid, when you again, we go back, we define our culture, we define the strategy for advancement and growth and where we're going. If you've got somebody that doesn't align with that, again, if you got somebody that, I'm just looking for a job to, get me through this time, then you're hiring the wrong person. Once you've defined your culture, it's better to hire somebody that fits your culture, that's got at least the background and the education or the experience close to what you need, rather than try to find somebody that's got this great resume that fits you perfectly, but they don't fit your culture, right? For whatever reason. And I think it's important to, if you don't know what your culture is, you should know it and make sure that when you hire somebody, they fit your culture. And then again, quality over quantity, right? I don't want 3 employees just to get some production. I want 1 or 2 employees that are going to really do the job. And if I've done everything right and I've built my culture, I've put my job description properly, I've got the advancement opportunity, all those things are in place, then I'm going to find a good person that is going to stick with me. What does their history look like? Are they bouncing from job to job every 6 months or a year? That's a really big red flag. And you want somebody that's got a good track record of what they've done, and make sure that you find those folks. And again, you're trying to find these people just like hundreds of other businesses are trying to find them. So again, you have got to be better than your competition that wants that employee. And if you do, you will find that quality employee that will be far and above, just bringing on bodies. And then, having an organizational plan. I talk to a lot of companies. I see that like, do you have an organizational chart? And that might be for really big companies, you think, right? Google and Microsoft, those guys all have organizational charts all the way down the line. Small businesses, our employees wear, 2, 3 hats at a time, sometimes more. So it's a little bit harder, but you can blend those together. You can kind of figure out, well, how can I at least create a plan? I know when I'm going to hire somebody, what they're going to be doing, and how to make them effective as possible. That'll help. But if you don't have any kind of plan of where your company's going and what types of employees you're going to need as you grow, then you're going to be kind of backtracking all the time and trying to figure out where you need to go. So good to have a plan, know exactly where you're going, and be ready for that growth. All right. So this is okay. Last couple slides here, but focus on employee wellness. You know, a healthier staff is gonna help you, right? I mean, that's bottom lines, right? So if we've got an increased workload, and we're trying to make our employees as productive as possible, we're growing, business is growing, we can't find people, your employees are going to have to do more. So wellness, the healthier to the staff that you have, the more they're going to be able to do, the less that they're out sick. It's just going to be, it's going to be better for your company. And if you could just promote a healthy workplace by helping them to manage stress, right? So where does stress mostly come from? It comes from our job, a lot of it, but it comes from our lives. Everybody has stress in their life, whether it's their family, their friends, their extended family, their financial situation. Maybe their spouse just lost their job. Their kid is graduating school or starting college, and now I got a new $1,200 bill a month, or whatever it happens to be. We've all got stress. So again, this flexible schedule, right, can really, really help your employees. So they've got a family member who's sick, a mother, father, or child, and they've got to take care of them. It's being really, really empathetic to what's going on in their personal lives and helping them to have flexible schedules. Gone are the days of, be here at 8 and don't be a minute late and gone at 5. Your employees, if you can make some sort of a flexible schedule for them to be able to live their lives, it will be that alone is a huge culture shift that will help your business succeed. And you may think, oh my gosh, they're working less hours or they're not going to be here. Well, you know what? Get your team to back them up. And my team is really, really great. Somebody goes away for a couple of weeks, as we had somebody recently, one of our staff, one of our key staff. Everybody chipped in. Absolutely. We're here for you. We're going to back you up. And they put things in place. I don't even have to tell them. They know exactly what they have to do to make sure that that one employee can go take those 2 weeks off to do something that they need to do. So it's really allowing, getting rid of that micromanagement of all your schedules and who's there. Let your team build um, that camaraderie and that teamwork. Let them do that. Help them to do that. Okay. Encourage them to do that. And then you can hopefully deal with the flexible schedules. Just some ideas. I've seen what works and what doesn't work. Again, you know what? Healthy snacks as much as possible. We have a little tray. We've got healthy snacks. I've seen some companies that have just amazing kitchens and, a refrigerator with every kind of beverage you could possibly have. We can't all afford that. But if you can do something close to that, then that would be wonderful. Make sure that your employees are in it. I'm not talking about bring donuts every day, because that's a horrible snack. I'm talking to, we've got nuts and some healthy bars and, things like that. So just make sure you're doing that. And also, what other benefits can you do? Childcare, right? Can you help somebody with childcare? That's going to make them less stressful. It's going to help their life a little bit. Can you bring in an on-site yoga teacher or a gym membership? Can you offer those, or massage gift cards? Now, not, healthy, clean massage gift cards to good, reputable places. Just I want to make that clear. But, what can you do? Do something fun, do something different. Show your employees that you care about them and that you want them to focus on their health, focus on eating right, focus on exercising, because when they're healthy, they're going to put more effort into your business and help you, and you can help them more too. So we all work to help each other. And yeah, a healthy team leads to greater happiness and improved productivity. That's just, I mean, it's pretty obvious. Again, it's common sense. Okay, so I think it's one of our last ones here. So, be a better boss. um, I don't think I'm the greatest boss in the world. I know but I know I'm better than I was yesterday. I'm better than I was 5 years ago. I've seen some pretty horrible business owners over the years, and nobody here, of course. But I've seen some people that just didn't really care about their staff. They might have had a successful company. They might have made a lot of money and drove a nice car and lived in a big house, but they were, just not the nicest people in the world. They weren't the best people in the world. They didn't care about those. They used their employees. They used their staff to get where they wanted to go, rather than, be that servant leader. And so this is all about being a better boss. There's just a couple things that you can do. Listen, and it's an acknowledgement that the labor market, people are never going to be easy to manage, right? People are just difficult. Everybody has different personalities and different things going on in their life. And, sometimes it's frustrating, but we have to be empathetic. We've got to be understanding that people are different than us. Not everybody's going to be the same. And we've got to be able to be flexible enough to deal with that. And, employees expect that, right? They expect empathy, engagement. They don't want their leaders, in some big office in the corner. And they're every 6 months or a year, they're going on a trip to Europe, and they're, buying fancy cars, and the employees are sitting there in like a cog in the wheel, just doing their job like a squirrel in in a little cage. They want to know that you're empathetic, you're just like them. And they want to hear from you. They want to talk to you. They want to give you input and be a part of, be part of something bigger in their life, and you can help them as a boss. But if you just treat them like a worker, you're going to get what you pay for. That's all I can say. And then, prioritize regular, like, recognition and rewards to show appreciation. And we don't do this as we should in this business. I'll be very, very honest about that. I need to do better in this, but it's something that I know really, really does work. If there's anything that you can do, we have this friend of mine who runs a really, really successful business. They have like, I think it's like a sock month or something. They do different months. And whoever wins this based on their performance gets like a free pair of socks or a free I don't know, they get all kinds of goofy stuff. So there's just little things that you can do. It doesn't have to be a big trophy or a big plaque on the wall. It can be something simple. Just acknowledge, right? Acknowledge and put little small rewards that show appreciation, for your employees' contributions. Wine goes a long way. I can say that for most people. Um, okay, so and again, adopt a team player mindset to build stronger connections. Again, you are part of the team as a boss. You're not this guy or the gal in the office that just makes all the decisions and sits way up at the top. You're part of your team, right? So you've got to build that team player mindset from your standpoint. And again, I always talk about servant leadership, right? You are there to serve your team. If you try to manage from the top down, you're only going to get so much. But if you can go from the bottom up and you can make sure that your employees know that you are there to serve them and help them do their jobs better, then you're going to get 10 times more out of that staff than you would if you just tried to micromanage everything and do everything from the top. So again, and when you build that team player mindset, that is going to flow downhill to your staff as well. And then, being a better boss means fostering trust and collaboration and mutual respect. So it starts from you. If you don't trust your staff, if you don't have the utmost in loyalty to them, then how can you expect that to come back the other way, right? So, and by being transparent about what's going on with you, with your business, with whatever it happens in the company, they can now trust you that you are now providing that open door, two-way communication, and you're trustworthy. They could then and do what you say you're going to do. I've been known to promise things and I can tell this from personal experience. Promise things because I want it to happen. I'd love for it to happen, but I don't always put the things in place to make sure it happens. So if you're going to say something or promise something, make sure you do it. That will build some respect and trust in your workplace. Really, really important to do that. Okay, so that is our last big slide. But as a conclusion, I don't know. I thank you again for being here, guys. I know this is not earth-shattering, concrete, how to run your business HR thing, but this is just some good ideas to hopefully help you next year. And I don't know if it's going to be a boom or not. I just know that investing in your workforce is going to be a winning strategy. And if you want to make some impactful changes, we can help you. We've got some ideas. We can kind of help you review some things that you're doing, but we can do some things in your place that will help you to grow your business and be ready for the growth that's going to hit us next year. And I believe that's it. I'm going to check our Q&A here. We got a couple folks in. Got a couple questions. So one of them, and if you guys have any questions, it looks like the chat is disabled. I don't know why I didn't set something up, but just go ahead in the Q&A. Feel free to put anything in there. So somebody says, can we be flexible with arrival times? I understand this leads to setting their own schedule. Absolutely. If as long as you have overlap. Now we have some different times here. Some folks get here about 7:45. Some folks get here about 8:15, 8:30. Some folks get at 9. But they'll stay a little bit later. They'll stay till 5 or 6. And yeah, absolutely. As long as your business has the coverage that you need, if you've got employees coming in that, or you've got clients that call or email, that somebody is there to just watch the shift. Now, some places like in a manufacturing environment, you probably can't do that because everybody's going to be on the team and doing what they're supposed to be doing. But if you've got an office environment, yeah, you can do that. And somebody also asked, what are some examples of a flexible schedule? You can have, there's all kinds of different ways you can do it. Sometimes remote work is involved. I'll tell you, our staff, we got 2 or 3, 4 people that work out of their house. They work from home 2 days a week, sometimes 3 days a week, the ones that live further away. So we have, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I know that person's here in the office. The next week it's Tuesday and Thursday. Part of the other team is they're here the opposite of that. They're here Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, and the next week they're here all 3 days. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So you can do some things with remote. You can also just have people start 7:30 to 4:30. Maybe they want to be off a little bit earlier. Maybe they've got to take their children to school at 8. So you let them start at 8:30 and they work until 5:30. Again, have your team help you focus on that. Have them help you devise a schedule and let them figure it out. Hey, we got to make sure we got coverage to answer the phones or provide whatever service that we're providing. Let them figure it out and then put it, you can have it loosely in writing. And then you can promote it. Hey, we do offer remote work after you've been here for a year or 2 years. And, once you've had some sort of longevity with the company, then you can work remote. I wouldn't necessarily offer it right away unless that's part of the job description. Make sure that they're there for a while. Okay. So that's one way. So another question is, can we allow people to show up late regularly? Okay. That's what you meant. I, it depends, I guess. If you don't have a flexible schedule, showing up late, if you have hey, be here at 8 o'clock, I need you here at 8, period. That's just the way our business works. Then, showing up late is not acceptable. They've got to live by that, whatever your work is. But if you say, hey, listen, as long as you're here within 15 minutes before 8 or 15 minutes after 8, just make sure you finish the day, make sure you clock out for lunch at the right time, and make sure you finish your day with at least close to 8 hours, then that's fine. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think allowing people a little bit of flexibility for traffic, for getting their kids ready for school, for whatever, getting a good breakfast, whatever it is, make sure that that you just set it in place and everybody knows. And eventually, listen, some people are going to take advantage of this. If you give too much, people will take advantage. So make sure that you are, watching it somewhat, but you can put something in as loose as possible. I hope that answered, but contact me directly after this. And if you've got some idea, you want to talk about some other ideas, I think that's it for our Q&A. So just coming up again real quick, PAGA reform, what you need to do now, right? So again, this is going to be more of a detailed look at PAGA reform. It's going to be a little bit dry. Won't be as passionate about it as this one, but it's something I think you guys really need to know. I want to make sure people don't get sued. It's one of my concrete service passions, I guess, is to make sure people don't get sued, because I hate it. And then in February, we're going to do basically a follow-up to this. And this is going to be real deep into wage and hour compliance, everything from, meal and break waivers to final paychecks and, all those things. I think it'll be good for a lot of folks. And let me check our Q&A real quick here. Got one more too. Okay, that's just a thank you. Thank you. You're welcome. Yeah, so whatever else we can help you with, you guys that do use this, we do payroll, full HR, timekeeping, HR, automation as much as possible, onboarding. We do have a lot of training. If you're not doing harassment prevention and workplace violence prevention, we certainly have the things in place for that. And then, of course, we can do benefit administration as well, workers' comp benefits, 401k, you name it. Anyway, so glad to have all you guys on the webinar today. Again, we're going to really be doing these every month in 2025. So we will put that schedule out, and we'd love to have you on board. If you have any questions, you can reach out to myself or Anna, who's the head of our HR, and we're more than glad to help you with anything that you have going on. Okay, listen, have a wonderful Christmas. So I don't talk to any of you before then. I just be safe, enjoy it. And I can't wait for next year. And I just thank you for being a part of Infinium HR today. Thanks very much, guys. Take care.